Okay, everyone. So I knew that I was gonna wait to post um my Glee-cap for last night's episode. I believe it was called "The Role You Were Born to Play," but I've been so angry and upset about it that I just feel like I have to let my feelings out. And honestly, I pretty much just wrote this really long ass post on Tumblr about how I feel, so I will just direct you towards there. I don't know if you are aware of Tumblr or know anything about it, but I do have a Tumblr page. It's called zashigabuda06.tumblr.com. Um, and I'll spell it out for you at the bottom because I know it's crazy. And the reason why I have that name is it's one of my favorite Sanrio characters besides Karo Kara Kuropi, hence my tag or name here. So anyway, I'll just try to summarize briefly how angry I feel. Highlights maybe of things I don't discuss in my Tumblr posting. And also on top of that, today and my excitement for Glee, I kind of dissect the version of mine from Glee versus the Taylor Swift music video version. Um, I go on quite a bit about that. So I encourage you to go onto my Tumblr only for those two sheer reasons. I'm not, it's great if you decide to follow me or even look in Tumblr, which I think has a really awesome fandom for Brittana and everything like that. It kind of gets crazy, but at any rate, um, let me talk about the episode. Um, so like I've said, I've been really excited. Finally, the hiatus is over. We're getting new episodes of Glee, and then we get the clusterfuck that happened last night. And usually I would rewatch the episode before I post these things and have notes in my head of what I want to discuss. But honestly, I would be fine with never watching this episode ever again. That's how pissed off I am about this episode. Like, okay, like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I don't really want to repeat myself because, like I said, I did try to get most of my feelings out on my Tumblr posting. But the highlights of why I'm so angry is that, this episode is pretty much centered around Finn again. And you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these episodes being centered on Finn, and his poor, him and Blaine being the whole woe is me, poor me, like victimization. When it's like you kind of brought these problems on yourself. So I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Finn, you know, being all like I have like basically fulfilled the I'm a loser thing that I was so scared of because here I am working at Bert Hummel's tire shop because I have no other options in my life, and Rachel left me and now I'm a loser. And so Artie comes to like, come on, Finn, you should co-direct the musical Grace with me, and like Artie, just do it yourself, honestly. Because then after that, after Artie brings this idea to him, Finn takes over and just basically is like, I'm the director. And like, so Artie's shoved to the background again. Like, whatever. So, and then on top of, so this is just the beginning sequence of the episode, right? And then we get Blaine being all sad that now we get the official confirmation that Kurt and Blaine are broken up. So at least we have that clear. And Blaine is all sad that Kurt won't return his calls or his texts and he's ignoring him. And then he busts out into hopelessly devoted to you. Which I find completely condescending. And like, you brought this upon yourself when you decided to contact this Eli C person on Facebook and hook up with him. So you really shouldn't feel so freaking fucking despondent over your breakup because you caused it. You pushed Kurt to go to New York because you said that he didn't have a place in McKinley anymore. He was better than that. And then you turn around and feel neglected, and then you cheat on him. So fuck you, Blaine. Honestly, like, I don't apologize for the cursing that'll probably take place in this Glee-cap, but I'm just that angry, and when I'm angry, I tend to curse more than I even normally do. Um, so then this rest of this episode proceeds and them trying to figure out who's gonna play who in the musical Grease. The one of the few redeeming factors I have about this episode is that Mike and Mercedes return, and there's really no explanation as to why Mike is now all of a sudden leaving the Alvin Ailey troupe in Chicago, and how Mercedes is leaving L.A. with her supposedly gig as a background singer, they just randomly show up at the school, just like everybody else does, with no explanation. Like in real life, I mean, honestly, those are completely unplausible reasons to be like, yes, we want to come back and Mercedes is going to be the vocal coach and Mike is going to choreograph this musical. But you know what? It's the Gleeverse. I guess we just have to accept it as it is, which is fine. But they are back. But again, they get relegated to side roles because this episode is all about Finn. Again, we get introduced to the Glee project winner. I can't even remember his name or whatever name they're using for him, and I honestly don't care, because then he's sing like I don't care, and then I guess I'm just going more about a recap of what happened in the episode because on my Tumblr rant I discussed about what I'm pissed off about. So I guess I could just continue with this briefly because at this point I'm already halfway through the episode. Um, so then we get to see each of them try out. Um, so we get to see Marley and Unique team up on a duet, and they sing Pink's "Blow Me One Last Kiss," which I thought was actually kind of pretty good. Only for the sheer fact that once Marley, got dressed up or sexed up for for this song, she looked pretty hot and she was smoking and she sang it really well. I was kind of unsure if their voices would go together, but ultimately it worked out fine. And then we see Kitty, who I cannot stand this character. I don't understand why they're making this character be such a bully and just be completely rude and horrible and ignorant and a bigot and all of it. The stuff that comes out of her mouth is worse than Sue. It's inflammatory, and it's just wrong that nobody is stopping her from her little tirades. Okay, just just uncalled for what comes out of her mouth. The hatred she spews out of her mouth towards Marley. So at any rate, her and Jake feel like, well, now we want to try it for the damn musical, and they sing Neon Trees Everybody Talk. And this was actually an entertaining performance, I felt, because they actually had choreography in their scene. They danced around, they sang. Jake pretty much took the lead in singing, and Kitty just backed him up, and it was fine. I was impressed with the dancing skills. I mean, Becca Tobin is a Broadway veteran supposedly, so she does have the skills. And we heard that Jake's mom was paying for dance lessons supposedly till the recession happened. So that's why he's supposedly able to dance. So, I mean, it turned out into a pretty successful audition. And then we see Marley in the wings, totally upset, thinking that now she just lost the Sandy role. And then we get that new football Finn-like person, whatever, singing some song I don't even know, and that was annoying. And whatever. I just didn't think he should have even won the Glee project because I thought that it would have been more beneficial if they had picked Eileen, I think is her name, the girl who was like Muslim or something, or over him. I don't even know who was in the running towards the end. I think it was him and the other guy who totally I thought had like compared to the other talent and the other contestants, like I thought it was a weak final compared to last year. And then let's see. So those were some of the. I think those were the only auditions because they just completely didn't even bother to have Tina try out or Brittany try out. They just basically were like, when they discussed all the roles, they're like, well, Mike was like, well, Brittany gets Cha Cha because she's the best dancer, and then Tina, I think she's Jan. I don't really remember Grease, to be quite honest. I can't remember who's who except for like Sandy and what is his name? The fucking lead guy. I can't even remember. But at any rate, they're filling out these minor character roles. And we get one scene between Mike and Tina because Tina's denying that she's pissed that Mike is back, and acting like nothing happened. So we get that small thing. So that's one small thing to look forward to for this episode. The other thing that I kind of am still on the fence about is the whole fleshing out of the character of Unique. Obviously, they're trying to play this character as a transgender character, I believe, and I find that that's pretty groundbreaking because I don't think that's happening at all on network television. So having, Wade Unique Adams on the show, telling Finn like I feel like I don't fit anywhere. I don't feel like I fit in the boys' locker room, in the gym, but at the same token, I can't really go to the ladies' bathroom. He's in between. And so I'm curious to see how they lead the storyline, and I actually give mad props to, I forgot his name. Is it Alex? Alex Newell, for like being to like get up in a dress and heels and do what he does, and like that was one of his draws when he was on the Glee project, like that, the fact that he could pull that off. So like mad props to him for doing that. So we're coming towards the end of the episode at this point in my little like Glee-cap. Um, I'm sure I left out a lot of parts, but you know what? I really don't care. I don't mean to say I don't care so many times in this Glee-cap, but this episode was honestly just a waste for me. I just really don't care. Um, so the only cute moment, in my opinion, was when they went to go post up the cast list, and Brittany like basically pushes everybody out of the way to look at the cast list first, and we get her kind of giggle and smile when she gets posted as Cha Cha, whatever that character is. And then the other thing is that like we just see Sugar literally like sitting next to Brittany when they're trying out. They called back Marley and that new kid, and then Jake and Kitty, to see how the chemistry would act between them, and we get the whole hand jive number. So we literally see Sugar for a split second, um, sitting next to Brittany when they're all trying out to see chemistry wise, and then they all end up going on stage and dancing with them, I think, at the end. And then, I think we see her again when they're posting the cast list. And then that's it. I'm only talking about the characters I care about. And then we have like them post the cast list, and then it's pretty obvious who they're going to cast as who. Obviously, Kitty and Jake are not going to win the lead role, and then we see Kitty again being like fucking mean to Marley, which is again uncalled for, and the fact that nobody makes her stop her tirade pisses me off. And then we get a scene between Finn and Mr. Shu. Oh wait, let me go back, because the other thing that I enjoyed about this episode is the fact that Emma realizes that she spent so much time wanting to be Will's girlfriend and Will's wife that she kind of lost herself, and that she doesn't want to go to Washington because, you know what, she has her own identity outside of being Will and Emma. She has her own. She has a job that she loves and kids that she cares about, and she doesn't want to go to Will and resent him later on in their relationship because she went before him. So I thought that was awesome, and I liked the way that Beast kind of, ran interference and was sort of a therapist role and helped Emma realize that she didn't want to go. Okay, so that's like what, three things I enjoyed about this episode: Marley being hot, Beast being awesome, the one Brittany scene of her breaking through with the cast list. Yeah, I think that's it. The the thing that infuriated me the most, there's two actually besides the entity of the episode as a whole, um, was Finn. Finn. It's like it makes me so mad because I feel like it's hard for me to honestly like try to separate Corey Monteith from Finn, and I really kind of think that he's completely like it's hard for me to not see Corey as Finn. So I can't understand how he would allow, if he's like, I don't want him to think that he is, because Finn is a douchebag. But like in Figgins' office, he starts off wonderfully, I think, and I'm almost all, maybe not even almost, but I'm kind of like his little speech about why Unique should get the role of Rizzo and equality, and we should break barriers and all that kind of a thing. I'm like, oh, okay, Finn, maybe you're not so much of a douche. Like, maybe I could almost sort of start to forgive you for the debacle of I kissed a girl and outing Santana in the hallway, right? And then he gets frustrated, and then he calls Sue's baby retarded, and then he apologizes for it. What an asshole, And then Sue retorts with the fact that, hey, I had gay people on my squad. True, he had Santana and he had Kurt on his squad at one time. And like that's just, I love how she just walks out. She doesn't even have a rebuttal for that, because there is no need for a rebuttal. You should never say things like that. That is not an acceptable term when you're talking about Down syndrome anymore in this day and age 2012. You do not use that term. And Sue even did a PSA with Becky talking about how that word should not be used in discussing people who have Down syndrome. So there's that. And then the thing that pissed me off the most was the last scene when freaking Mr. Schuester basically is giving Finn the keys to Glee. Like, basically trying to build his confidence up again, saying, like, I'm gonna go to Washington. And then, you should stop calling me Mr. Shu, you should call me Will. No. And then, like, no, like, he's Mr. Shu, do not. Finn has no right to call him Will. I know they're trying to make it seem like now we can be colleagues, and it's like, this kid literally just graduated high school 3-4 months ago. He's 18, so that makes him an adult, yes, but like, he makes it seem like Finn Finn is like the mini new version of him, essentially, and that he can totally do this job. He could totally make these kids' dreams come true if they just believe in themselves. Like Mr. Shu made Finn believe in himself, I guess. And they have the cliffhanger. Like Finn doesn't believe that basically Will is handing him this position, and then they cut to like I didn't even realize I lost track of time, and I was like, when they cut it, and I was like, fuck, that's how they're ending it? So anyway, maybe the fourth thing that is redeeming about this episode is that they have the spoilers at the end. So we get to see more of how this musical is going to play out, and, excuse me, whatever. We didn't even see any Brittany and Santana in that whole montage. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just pretty pissed off and angry. This is why I'm still awake, and it's like 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. I'm so angry I can't even go to sleep. So, at any rate, I will post a link to my Tumblr page at the end of this, and you can feel free if you want to read my tirade that goes on and on and on about why I really hated this episode, as if you couldn't tell how much I loathed it from this specific video. Yeah, I really am losing faith in Glee, and I'm really trying not to completely stop watching it, but if they have more shit like this, I might just have to stop watching it. Um, this was a show that used to bring me joy, something that I look forward to, and now it's not. It's not doing any of those things. I know that I'm loyal to a fault, and I probably will keep watching the show until it ends, but honestly, if it keeps going on like this, I hope this is the last season, because, like, it's spinning out of control. It's like, I just can't. I just can't. And just to let everybody know, the person who wrote this episode was Michael Hitchcock, and I don't think you should ever write an episode ever again. He, I believe, is one of the supervising producers, and I believe this is the first time he's written an episode for them, and it's amusing in the fact that I believe he's the guy who plays the Deaf Club's show choir runner. So he is an actor as well. And I thought he was hysterical in those pieces, so when I saw his name, I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool. He's writing this episode. But yeah, this is almost as bad as Matt Hodgson's writing of I Kissed a Girl. It's almost on that level of how terrible it was. I mean, Brad Falchuk directed this episode. Between the two of them, you would think that they would have realized how horrible this was. But nope, they put this on, and this is supposed to be the episode they put on after the hiatus when all of us are like fucking freaking out that we've gone practically 6 weeks without a new Glee. And this is what is supposed to bring us all back to it. Yeah, horrible. Just plain fucking ridiculously horrible. Alright, this is going on 20 minutes, a lot longer than I thought I would speak about this episode, which shall never be named again or watched again by me. At any rate, peace out, homies. Let's look forward to Greece next week, and we'll see how I feel about it. We'll see, how all of us feel about it. Feel free to drop me some comments if you completely disagree with me. I'd feel free to have a lovely, congenial debate about it, which is fine. At anything at all. I love hearing um, from anybody who actually sits and watches me talking about Glee. At any rate, like I said, have a great night, and I will see you all next week.